All right, good evening. Let's call this Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. Can I please have one of the commissioners lead us in the opening ceremonies?
We can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Jimenez. Can we please move to a roll call?
Chairperson Santana,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Levano,
Present.
Commissioner Takayama,
Present.
Commissioner Carlin, and then Commissioner Jimenez.
Present.
Thank you for that. We do miss Commissioner Carlin this evening. I'm sure he is with us, though, still in support. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next agenda item, corrections of the agenda. We'll give it a second if any commissioners do see any from our previous meetings.
Chairperson, excuse me, at this time, the staff did not have any corrections to the agenda either to amend at this time.
Thank you. Seeing none up here, we can move to public comments.
Chairperson, at this time, the general public may address the commission or committee on any items listed on the agenda, including items not listed on the agenda, which are referred to as non-agenda items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Please be aware that the maximum time allotted for members of the public to speak shall not exceed 3 minutes per person, and state law prohibits the commission and committee from taking action or entertaining extended discussion on topic not listed on the agenda. Please show courtesy to others and direct all your comments to the chairperson. And Chairperson, we do have one comment card today.
So we have Ban Ajamian.
Thank you. Good evening.
Every time I come here, I see how much balder I get. Hoy llego a ser completamente calvo. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I live here in Montebello. I manage a small charity. The charity has an idea. And I have a handout, and instead of, there's not enough time to go through the handout, so let me summarize from a different perspective. This is possibly an addition to the My Montebello app, but it can also operate independently if whoever's in charge of the app doesn't want it added to it. It's to score points doing good things in the community, and those points then are to be converted into discounts. It's like money, but it's not money. Either you can get discounts or you can donate it to something. And I've shared this idea with the LA County Department of Public Works because I heard their Clean LA program put on an ad with a Dodger player talking about recycling plastic, and certainly this would apply there. The details have to be worked out, like how do you score points to recycle plastic, but it can be done with QR codes and with an app. In Montebello, My Montebello app, you swipe it, you score points into your personal account. You can have teams, and your points also go into your team. You can have competitions. A lot of good things can happen. What I did, I just finished today a survey at ATC and MHS, and the results are attached there. And it's interesting what the teenagers think. The teenagers at ATC, I think they were service-oriented, and those at MHS, Ms. Lozano told me, is a cross-section, so it's a broader group. But, you know, teens would participate. They have their particular interests, certainly as you know, older people would have their interests. But, you know, apart from the county, yesterday I met with the two community relations officers at Montebello PD, nice nice people, and they made suggestions, and I said to myself, I'd really like the county, our own departments, as many people as possible to make input. We would have a very good program, and it would, well, a simple example, you report a pothole, and you get an autoresponder thank you with a QR code, which would give you points. You swipe it and you can get points. I mean, so it's a way to use the My Montebello app more to motivate people to download it and use it. But beyond that, even this department, PD, FD, it could be used, nonprofits in Montebello, HOC is, continually asking for volunteers. They get a QR code. People come to volunteer. People swipe the QR code and get points. The points then are just, translated into discounts. Or, I keep seeing these St. Jude's ads on TV, when I watch my Star Trek episodes. And, and yeah, you can donate your points to maybe a child in a hospital or just give it to a nonprofit where it could turn it into value and get something. So what I'm asking at this point is the most important thing, because I'm really happy about the input that has been given. It's making the idea better. Is if the commissioners somehow, this is not formal, this is not an endorsement, this is not public, there's no budget here, but just if we had a group of maybe 20 people who by email, or maybe we could meet once in a while and just brainstorm, how would we like to use the app to score points? How many points, like I know the Department of Recreation and Community Services gives classes. Okay, maybe for a class that improves your health, like one of the Zumba classes, you get points. Not because it's Zumba so much as you're acting part of the community. You're also working on your health, that kind of thing. That's important. So this idea started out about sustainability. And it's not just about climate change. There's a lot of aspects of sustainability like resilience, and that involves the FD and the PD also, that this could address. If you have solar panels on your roof, if you drive a hybrid car, there's so many different things you could score points for, and then the points would have value. I just saw, I don't know how I got this thing in my text, Dodgers Nation said discounted Dodger tickets, and I thought, yes, can we work with the Dodgers where, points become discounted Dodger tickets? So this is basically it. My ask of you is help me form this. There's no obligation, there's no budget, but let's have a group of people who would brainstorm. It's not a lot of time, but it's valuable time because people's ideas are useful. So I'm asking, oh, by the way, the county told me, and Montebello Community Relations told me, if the city were somehow involved, if the city asked them to be involved, they would get involved. I mean, I'm just a little nonprofit. They're busy people, but if you asked, we would get a lot more input. So however it works, if you could do it, please.
Thank you so much for sharing that this evening with us. We'll move on to our agenda item.
Thank you, Chairperson, members of the commission. Item 1, and the only item staff are presenting today, is a little bit of a rehash. We went over this item about a year ago and made more progress on this project. What it is a Measure A funded county RPOSD, Regional Parks District. A little bit of background, the staff report talks to you about what the Regional Parks District is and how it was funded and how Measure A came to be essentially as a property tax. And with that, the city gets an annual allocation of about $200,000 a year, give or take. And with that, we're able to make improvements to our parks and our park system. So you guys are well aware of our park master plan process. Some of you have participated. You guys all read it. We provide you copies. And a lot of those projects are the larger scale, right? So we have $10, $12 million projects. And what we wanted to do with these funds is look at elements of the park master plan, specifically this project at Montebello City Park, the ball field renovation, and how we could take those annual allocation dollars that we received since 2019 and make some impacts in the city without, I want to say ruining, but changing too much with the larger scale plan. So, sorry, in your packet, you'll see, again, we talked about this about a year ago, but we're doing another round of information sharing here. Excuse me, is a little bit of detail about what we're going to be doing at Montebello City Park. So that project's actually getting kicked off next week with a site visit through a lengthy process with getting this project approved by RPOSD, the Parks District. And what we're doing is basically making this a little bit more accessible, a better field, redoing the bleachers. If you guys been to City Park on Los Angeles and Taylor, there are not accessible bleachers, so we're going to go ahead and make those improvements, bring the below ground dugouts to above ground grade, and basically make it a safer and more playable ball field. Some other enhancements we're looking at is some stuff in the outfield as well as irrigation. So we bring this item forth, one as a mandatory sharing option through the grant process, but also to allow the public to hear this and see this and answer and staff answer any questions that the commission may have. So we'll be talking about some of our other Measure A projects after this item, but we'll go ahead and open up the floor for questions at this time.
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Well, the selection of the parks, well, this specific field, is there a reason why they selected this field or?
Good question, Commissioner Olivano. So specifically, like I said, we have 3 site-specific plans in our master plan: Reggie Park, complete redesign; Grant Ray Park, complete redesign; and City Park, complete redesign. The elements, excuse me, at City Park that are not this ball field, so the ball field's across the street essentially of the park, are all kind of intertwined. So we want to redo the band shell, we want to redo the senior center parking lot. All those things kind of have to go together in one packet. This is an element we're able to identify in the master plan and also tackle and address without waiting for $8 to $10 to $12 million to redo the entire park. So, and again, also looking at our needs too, because you're well aware we're doing a accessibility study as well. And in order to use that field for adaptive T-ball or anything like that, it has to have accessible bleachers, accessible dugouts, which it doesn't have now. So these type of renovations allow the city to do multi-generational, multi-dimensional programs and really offer better services to the public. So it's not as exciting as a new playground or anything like that, but it's something that the city needs to do on our grand scale of infrastructure needs. So that's how we selected this as an element of the City Park project.
All right, thank you.
Director, I will ask a question. This is the same park that we've had actually a couple of the comments on. Is that correct? On the safety of the dugouts or the below ground?
Yes, Chairperson, actually, to coincidentally, that we had the public speaker that came up, which was a coach for the city sports program, as well as the Brewers travel baseball program, some we know in the community well, who also shared these concerns with the condition of the field, specifically the dugouts not being safe or accessible, right, as well as the bleachers. So coincidentally, and a good thing, the city and the staff are in lockstep with the residents who have the same concerns. So yes, to answer your question.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, sure, President. I do have a question. Director, I know this is barely in the initial steps, but do we have a timeline of how long it's going to take to redo the field?
Good question. So we also have to time it out based on what the use of the field is. So you guys may know that's our home field for our youth sports. So it's like football, soccer, et cetera, as well as Montebello High School and some other 90-foot high school level baseball, right? So timeline for the project-wise, to answer your question, we're meeting on Monday to kind of do the initial walkthrough again to verify what the scope of work is. The design element from one of the city's contractors, Mark Thomas, who will be putting together, takes 2 to 3 months to design all the elements, give cost estimates, and then go to council to approve a bid package, right? So a project of this magnitude and costs, $497,000, will need to go to council for formal bid. So all that being said, 6 to 9 months is a good estimate, but we'll also time that out based off of the use of the field. So we'll hold back or we'll accelerate based off of that.
I have a question. When it says you're going to have a kickoff meeting, are you going to open that to maybe the commissioners being on hand too?
It's a good question. So the kickoff meeting is just with the engineers to look and measure scope of work stuff. So looking at the height of the bleachers and measuring concrete, even at the city staff level for Parks and Rec staff, it's really a public works thing, to tell you the truth. We'll be there to make sure that we identify those things. But to answer your question, Ms. Takayama, it's not open to the public. It's a regular business hours item for the city. All of that feedback, though, just so you know, not to deflect from that, has happened. We identified this project and this park through the master plan process, as well as sharing it today. And that's kind of an important item. We want people to go back and watch this meeting and say, the director said on this day they're going to be working on this field in 6 to 9 months. We want to be able to be held accountable. So not to exclude folks, but it's also really an engineering exercise at this point.
All great questions. Thank you so much, commissioners. Are we able to make a motion on this recommendation?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Thank you, Vice Chair. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you so much. On that item, we can move to staff comms.
All right, Chairperson, I'm going to get mine out of the way, and I'm going to pass it to our recreation manager here. So on the Measure A topic, a little bit's outlined in the staff report, so I won't rehash too much, but 2016, there was a ballot measure that we all approved in LA County. So there's a property tax. The city gets an annual allocation from the Regional Parks District. And with that, we've banked up a good amount of money, again, to identify needs in the community. So we have a few projects that are pending. You heard all about the City Park ball field right now. What's coming up in the near future, again, using those annual allocation dollars, was the Grant Ray Community Garden, Grant Ray Park Community Garden. So we'll be moving into final review of that. So basically, the city contracted with the LA Community Garden Council. They're the best expert in the field. The commission and the council approved that in like 2022. But now in the final design phases, and we'll be actually building a community garden for the public in the area just south of the Barnyard Zoo. That's a large chunk of our annual allocation money, but something that the public wants to see. You heard in the community budget meetings about community gardens, and that's something that's going to happen here in the near future. Another project that's already open and completed, the City Park pickleball courts. You guys know all about that. Very popular. That was another Measure A project that was completed in 2023. Ball field we talked about, and then 2 other grant-related programs. So the city received CDBG, California Direct Block Grant funds, to renovate the senior center downstairs. And in addition to that, the Measure A also helps us to complete that project and make it a complete project. So again, kind of like this other project we just talked about for the ball field, final designs are going through now. We're expecting a bid package to go out real soon. So we're on a timeline that we have to spend the money as well. So within 6 months, we think we're going to have that project completed at the senior center. And another grant-funded program that's supplemented by our Measure A fund is the Rio Hondo River Access Project. I believe we shared that here with this commission prior. Everybody that drives through town talks about the Barnyard Zoo sign, Beverly and Rhea Drive, the older one falling apart. So staff here, Lori specifically, did most of the work, and we were awarded a grant to make that right-of-way space on Beverly and Rhea Drive more accessible to bikers, walkers, joggers, horses. So it'll be horse hitching posts. So it's an accessibility grant to enhance accessibility to the riverbed, which has a bike trail, which has walking trails, but also replace the sign. So working with the Barnyard Zoo to kind of replicate the sign and put a copy of it for them there, but also replace that aging sign that's probably 30 years overdue for replacement with the LED electronics. So that's also in final bid. They're at 90% review of the bid process right now, the bid package, and expected to go to council here in the next month. So all those are the uses of our Measure A annual allocation funds we wanted to share with the commission today. And if there's any questions about those, I'm here to answer, please.
Chairperson, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Director, just to confirm because I know we've had these discussions before with the Barnyard Zoo, and I know the sign has been come up a lot in our discussions. What was the timeline you said it will be presented to the City Council again?
So the entire bid package, which includes putting all the plans and specs and the electrical and all the surveying that has to happen, is actually going to be completed in the next 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then Public Works takes that package and formats it into their RFP or RFB package. And April, May is when they're planning to go to council. And then we know it's a 2 or 3 month construction process after contract's awarded. So all in all, 2 to 6 months is a realistic estimate for that project. And again, when the sign comes down, we've already talked with the zoo folks about providing like a replica to put on
Right.
site. I think they wanted that sign moved over there, but it's a 40-foot sign, so
it's a big
it would dwarf the barn.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Director.
Any other questions? And then we still have staff projects.
Yes, good evening, Chair Santana, members of the commission. Just a few more event announcements, starting with our annual Easter extravaganza approaching on Saturday, March 30th at Acuna Park. The event will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a number of activities, including crafts, a bubble show, a petting zoo, food trucks, a series of egg hunts beginning at 10:30, and of course, pictures with the Easter Bunny in the photo booth. The Adaptive Inclusive Recreation Program will host its first Air Resource Fair this Saturday, March 23rd at Chet Holyfield Community Center. The event will feature roughly a dozen local and Los Angeles County area resource groups from 10 to 2, in addition to some fun games and raffles that will be held out throughout the day. Our weekly night market will commence on Thursday, April 11th, and will continue through the month of September at the City Lot on Whittier Boulevard behind the Wells Fargo Bank. Our first event will kick off with live music from the Wise Guys, and because it's the second week of the month, it will also feature a beer garden. In recognition of Earth Day and Arbor Day, the department will host a community cleanup event on Saturday, April 20th from 8 to 11 a.m. A mix of volunteer opportunities and community resource options will be available, including cleanup and beautification projects at Holyfield, Ashia, and Reggie Rodriguez Parks, self-serve compost pickup and tree planting at Reggie Rodriguez Park, e-waste collection at City Hall, and bulky item pickup at Taylor Ranch. And lastly, preparation for our summer aquatics program is underway and currently focused on the recruitment of lifeguards and swim instructors. Recertification will begin this week for returning staff at the Holyfield Pool and will be offered again next month. Pools are scheduled to begin on Friday, June 7th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for that communication on these projects. Really excited to see them happen. Are there any questions? Thank you. We'll move on to commission and committee orals. All right, I'll actually go first. I want to say thank you to everybody. Happy New Year to us. We've had a meeting or two, but really excited to see a lot of things kick off in these next couple months. So as usual, always asking how we could help, making sure that we're sharing them, promoting them, and of course, participating. Really appreciate our visitor today. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak on this item. Interestingly enough, I too am also trying to see how we can utilize the Montebello app more, and maybe putting together things like our community cleanup as reminders on the Montebello app, and seeing how we could incentivize those opportunities, and the participation is something that I hope we can help improve. So more to come on that. Hopefully we can see some action from our commission first and maybe some others. That's all I have from me. Happy Easter going forward. Commissioners, does anyone have anything they would like to share? Commissioner Takayama, go ahead.
Yeah, so this past weekend, the Girl Scouts celebrated World Thinking Day at Bicknell Scout House, and we also been invited by Mayor Peralta to Quiet Cannon to celebrate the Girl Scouts as leaders of tomorrow this Sunday. So I'm really excited about that. And I am very happy to know that also Taylor Ranch is going to have some, work done to make it much safer. And I also wanted to add that I would like to share that I'm very excited about Farmers Market coming back. I think it's a great food place, music, and fun to hang out.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any else? Commissioners, thank you so much, and staff and residents and visitors, thank you. We will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Can I get all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let's adjourn at 5:54. Thank you.